You guys are not going to believe what the Motley Fool just had to say about AMC stock, potentially saying that these shares, these ape shares, could finally shed some light on the truth if there has ever been more shares issued than what there should have been, aka synthetic shares. Let's get straight into this article. So it says the meme stocks seem to rise and fall together, even if not at the same velocity. And it goes on to say that AMC stock is up 30% in just the past week and is 50% higher from where it stood a month ago. Although GameStop has often risen in tandem with AMC, the moves have not been nearly as large, as its shares are up 7% and 18% respectively. Home goods retailer Bed Bath & Beyond, on the other hand, has been on fire all by itself, with its shares respectively 73% higher over the past week and 100% higher since the bottom that we seen for that stock. Now, right here is really what I want to highlight here in this video, and we are going to talk about, what's happening today in the markets. We're going to talk about AMC, go over the data, everything else you guys need to know, the whole shebang, but I wanted to start with this because, wow. It says, now what? As all of the meme stocks remain heavily shorted, bulls, or as AMC investors refer to themselves, apes, are trying to rally the stock to effect a short squeeze or force the short sellers to cover their positions. Although these investors feel there are market players conspiring against them, something AMC CEO Adam Aron has said he's found no evidence of. They believe the new preferred stock AMC issued could certainly cause the tumult they've been waiting for. Aron himself says it's part of the motivation in issuing the shares. The primary reason is he wants to raise more money, as the preferred stock will serve as a vehicle to count the shares outstanding. It could prove once and for all whether there are truly more shares in play that have been issued. Now, we have not seen the Motley Fool, let alone anyone else that is remotely against AMC, talk about synthetic shares at all. They've not acknowledged synthetic shares. They have not acknowledged naked shorts. Certainly not the Motley Fool out of all people. So to put this in this way, like it's a question that could be answered, implies that it could be a yes or a no answer, right? And that's where the whole conspiracy, I guess you could call it, could come in with Motley Fool. It looks like these guys are starting to get a little bit more nervous about potentially this rally we're seeing with AMC stock, about their synthetic shares actually being exposed. Not to say that Motley Fool has anything directly to do with that, but we all know what's going on with Motley Fool, what's going on with these other programs that essentially have a lot of hedge funds that back them. That's all public information. That's not even the conspiracy part about this whole thing. It's public information. Yes, these guys invest in these news article outlets, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Motley Fool, CNBC, they're all run by hedge funds and big money when it comes down to it, or those hedge funds, big money, have big roles to play in what is actually said. Why do you think we haven't heard anything about synthetic shares or naked shorts or anything along those lines? It's because they don't or didn't want to acknowledge that in the past. Just blatant manipulation that would not be acknowledged. So I did want to start off with this because I think it's very wild, honestly, that they're finally going to acknowledge something we've talked about for a very long time, that there is a possibility there is synthetic shares out there. That's good enough for me until we get the ape shares that are actually delivered to the 516 million legal owners of AMC, and we see if essentially we don't get our ape shares, if really synthetic shares are confirmed. If that's the case, they would have to be bought back, and that would be a very bullish event. At that point, you would have to see those shares get retracted, bought back, an AMC stock go through that would be a parabolic rally. That would be thousands of dollars per share for AMC stock, in my personal opinion. Now, nonetheless, let's talk about what is going on here in the markets today and what is going on with AMC stock. Now, if you guys are unaware, we are seeing the federal funds rate monitor tool starting to price in less of a possibility of a 75 basis point rate hike. That is mostly due to PPI that came in below expectations here today. That is the producer price inflation or producer price index, whatever word you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's the producer side of inflation. So that is a very bullish thing, that inflation is starting to go down, if not going up at a slower pace, right? That is definitely a good thing. We may have seen the peak in inflation. We've gotten an inflection point in inflation in March, and that was sadly not the case. So depending on how that goes, that's going to dictate Fed policy, and that is going to dictate how our stock market does trade, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's talk about AMC stock and go over the data that you guys need to know, because trust me, you need to know this data, especially if you are trading AMC stock in the options market. Whoa. No, didn't want to do that. Now you have about $2.15 billion worth of short positions on AMC, 17.67% estimated short interest of free float. Free float out on loan, 25.68%. Shares out on loan, 132.34 million. Days to cover, 2.84. Cost borrow, 8.89, and 100% share utilization. You are also seeing the cost bar max at 11%, cost bar average at 8.61%, and cost bar minimum at about 8% as well. That cost bar minimum at 8%, I think is very telling. That's the thing that is really seeing the biggest jump today out of all the forms of cost to borrow. It's that minimum, and why that's important is because that's the minimum you could take on a short position for. 8% is a very wildly high interest rate. If you look at something like a Tesla, or you look at the S&P, that's probably around 1 or 2% cost to borrow. AMC, multiples higher than any of your quote-unquote normal stocks to sell short. Now for the day, you are seeing 101 orders totaling $15.22 million, positive order value of 67%. Some $30 calls coming through for August 19th, some $26 calls expiring tomorrow, $25.50 call expiring tomorrow, $41 call expiring August 19th, $30 call for August 19th, $25.50, two of these options expiring tomorrow, August 30th, $30 call for August 19th, a $25 call for tomorrow. A lot of August 19th bullish option activity, and even options for tomorrow. Look at this, $25 call, $25.50, $25.50, $25.50, $25.50, $25.50. All of these are calls that expire tomorrow. $24.50 call that expires tomorrow. $34 call that expires August 19th. $25 call, $25 call. Both of those expire August 19th. Those option orders are around $100,000 a piece. $25 call, $25 call that expires tomorrow. $23 call that expires tomorrow, August 19th, $30 call. So it looks like people are really betting that AMC stock is going to go over, if not to $30 per share by at least August 19th. That looks like the consensus that I am getting from the option activity. And if we look at the actual option chain and the amount of open interest where it's held, 67.28% of that open interest is on the call side. On the put side, 32.72% is essentially held in open interest. So I think that is very telling, and I think it's important to pay attention to what hedge funds are doing and how their positioning is, because a lot of the time that can foreshadow a rally that is to come. Now, as far as economic data coming out tomorrow, you really don't have much. You do have some GDP reports that come out of the UK. That could be important. What happens in Europe tends to affect American stock markets as well, but that's going to be the biggest foreign data that we are expecting to get. You are getting export prices month over month and import prices month over month for July. Expected to be a decent volatility catalyst, but nothing too crazy. And then at 10 a.m., you have the real deal as far as data and catalysts coming tomorrow. You have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Preliminary Survey for August. This is going to tell you guys, if you guys have not watched the last video, how people feel about the economy, about the holiday shopping season, how they feel about inflation, about job security, everything else. And that usually foreshadows how consumers act, and potentially if we're heading into a recession, if consumers are slowing down, what is going on. We'll get a little bit more clarity as to what people are expecting. That is why a survey is highlighted in red and is a big catalyst for the markets. It's one of the longest running surveys, and it's one of the most long running accurate surveys that the stock market has to go off of. Now, as far as the technicals and what we are currently seeing with AMC stock, it's looking incredibly bullish here today, still above $25 per share. We are $25.05 per share, almost at the close of today. So depending on what happens, I want to see us stay above 25. That's going to be insanely bullish. But as long as we stay above 24, I really think that is a good sign. That's pretty much where we gapped up today. We sold off a little bit in the beginning of trading under 24, but we've been above 24 for a majority of the day. day, and that's really where we were at back here August 8th. We did close at $23.96 per share. So if we can get a close that is higher than what is it, $23.96 per share, around $24 per share, but specifically that price, it's probably going to send trading algorithms in a frenzy to buy more AMC stock, on top of the need to buy AMC because they don't want their ape shares to expose their synthetic shares, right? Now, why I say the algorithms are in control is because the 200-day moving average is right here at $20.71 per share, and we bounced right off of that on August 10th. That was yesterday, and then continued to make this rally higher. I did indicate that it's probably a good time to put a bullish position on AMC stock. Obviously not financial advice. You can lose all of your money. Contact a financial advisor if you are uncertain or don't know how to invest in the stock market appropriately. It looks like we're on a bullish trajectory here, and it looks like the algorithms are in charge, and I'm not willing to bet on the algorithms or bet against the hedge funds in this moment in time, because obviously hedge fund activity, algorithmic activity is to the bullish side. So I am not going to sit here and say that AMC stock cannot go higher, because that would absolutely not be the truth. We are now above the 200-day moving average, way longer than we were in March. In March, we were only above this intraday at one point. You have now closed above this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Same thing for the 100-day moving average. You were only above this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days last time in March. You have been above the 100-day moving average 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days as of right now. So the longer term trend looks bullish. Shorter term trend, where our resistance, moving averages are, and key levels, how AMC is acting around those levels is also very bullish. So I'm not going to be the one to bet against AMC stock as of right now. I definitely want to have some more exposure to some upside momentum. The RSI is at 76.57 since the last video we put out. This has went up about 5 points, so that is definitely not a great thing in the grand scope of the velocity of AMC. It's showing that AMC is going up at a pretty decent velocity. That can't last forever, but I certainly think it could go a lot stronger than what we're seeing right now. But even to see a consolidation phase, maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday, that would actually be healthy for some of the technical indicators that we are talking about right now, like the RSI, like the MACD, that is still incredibly bullish. So as of right now, everything I'm seeing is in line with a big rally. The algos are in charge, hedge funds are running for the door, and that is why you are seeing AMC stock going up. And the biggest thing you guys really need to look at, if you don't know what I'm talking about by algorithms are in charge, look at how you bounced off the 200-day moving average. That was yesterday. You were down 8.5%, 9%, ended up closing up 5.5%. That was not just because retail investors were buying AMC stock more yesterday than what we have over the past year and a half. That's not the case at all. It's hedge funds. It's algorithms. They are going bullish on AMC stock. And that's what I'm personally going to do. You guys can do whatever you want, but that's personally what I'm going to do. I've been bullish on AMC for a long time. Starting to see the price action look the par. Now, that is going to be all for this video. If you guys found value out of it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, do what you guys got to do in that regard. I'm sure you already hit the like button or dislike if you liked or disliked the video. But nonetheless, let me know what you guys think about the Motley Fool situation down below in the comment section. Get your free stock with Webull, Moo, and Public, as well as that if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.